Blocking makes you look hurt. Chasing makes you look weak. But there's one quiet move in between that flips the power without drama. And once you see it, you'll never block or chase again. It's late, too quiet. Your phone's face down, but you still know exactly where it is. If this is you, you keep telling yourself you're fine. You're not blowing up their phone. You're not blocking them either. You're just sitting in this weird space in between. Maybe this hits closer than you expected, because part of you wants to disappear completely. Block, erase. Cut it clean so you don't have to feel that pull anymore. And another part of you wants to reach out, just once, just to see if they'd respond the same way they used to. You replay small things, not the big fights, the tiny moments, the way they used to send a message late at night instead of sleeping, the way your name looked on their screen, the pause before they'd reply, that pause that didn't used to be there. You tell yourself you won't check, you check anyway. You notice they watched your story but didn't say anything. You notice when they stop watching. That one hurts more, even though you don't admit it. There's regret you don't talk about. Not regret for what you did, but for how much you gave without realizing it was costing you something. There are questions you keep dodging. Did I matter as much as I thought? Did I walk away too soon or not soon enough? You don't want to look desperate. You don't want to look cold. You don't want to play games. You just want them to feel it, naturally, without you begging, without you disappearing in a dramatic exit that screams pain. And here's the part nobody really talks about. Blocking doesn't always give you peace. Chasing doesn't give you answers. Sometimes it just leaves you alone with your thoughts at 3 a.m., wondering if there was another move you never even considered. So what if there is something you can do that doesn't announce itself, that doesn't chase, that doesn't block, but quietly shifts everything in a way they can't ignore? What if the question isn't how do I make them come back, but how do I move in a way they finally feel what losing me actually means? Let me say this without noise. Most men get this wrong because they think it's about A, action, do something, block, text, disappear. Make a move so it's a look strong, but strength isn't loud. I've been where you are, sitting in the car a little longer than needed, engine off, just staring at nothing because going inside means thinking again. You tell yourself you're calm, but your jaw's tight, your shoulders are up. You check your phone one more time before putting it away. Here's the misunderstanding. Blocking feels powerful, but it's usually reactive. It says, I can't handle what this makes me feel. Chasing feels honest, but it hands your balance to someone else. Neither one is grounded. Real life doesn't work in extremes. People don't feel lost because you vanish dramatically. They feel it when this pattern breaks. A simple truth most men don't want to hear. If your presence was steady, your absence should be steady too. Not cold, not performative, just solid. Think about it. The moments that stay with you aren't the big speeches. It's the quiet shift. When someone who used to always be there suddenly isn't, not angry, not begging, just unavailable in a way that feels final. That's when the mind starts working. Masculine principle number 1. You don't teach people your value by explaining it. You let consistency speak, then you remove it. Principle 2 is harder. You don't move to be felt. You move because it's aligned, and being felt is a side effect. This isn't about winning someone back. It's about not leaking yourself out of fear. And when you finally make that move, the right one, it won't feel dramatic. It'll feel quiet, almost boring, which is usually how you know it's real. The room is quiet in that uncomfortable way. Not peaceful, just empty. A fan hums somewhere, too loud. The air feels cooler than it should, brushing your arms, making you notice your own skin. You're sitting on the edge of the bed, not lying down, not moving either. Like if you stay still enough, the feeling won't get worse. Your phone lights up, not them. Still, your chest tightens before you even check. You think about the last time you almost blocked them. Your thumb hovering, that tiny shake in your hand you don't like to admit was there. You thought it would feel strong, final, but something stopped you. You remember a different moment earlier. better. The sound of their laugh in the car when the windows were down, the way they talk with their hands, the way silence used to feel easy instead of sharp. Your mind starts doing that thing. Maybe I should have said more. Maybe I said too much. Maybe if I just... No. You stop yourself mid-thought because you're tired of negotiating with ghosts. There's a memory that keeps sneaking up on you. You walking into a room and them looking up like your presence mattered. No effort, no performance, just you being there. That's what hurts. Not the loss, the shift. You realize something sitting there in the dim light, fan humming, phone face down again. Blocking would scream, chasing would beg, but doing neither? That's different. That's waking up and choosing a life that doesn't orbit one person. That's not explaining, not punishing, just moving forward without dragging your pain behind you. And somewhere, you know it, that kind of silence lands heavier than words ever could. The thought lingers as the room stays quiet. What if the moment they finally feel you gone is the moment you're no longer waiting for them to notice at all? There are a few beliefs that sit quietly in the background. They don't yell. They don't sound toxic. They just guide your choices without you noticing. The first one is this idea that by blocking is strength. Like if you cut someone off hard enough, you'll finally feel in control. I used to believe that too. I remember deleting a number and staring at the screen, waiting for relief. It didn't come. What came was silence that felt sharp instead of clean, because blocking didn't mean I was done. It just meant I didn't trust myself to feel what was still there. Here's the truth most men miss. Blocking doesn't heal you if you're still checking the door in your head. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. Another belief sounds more honest, but it does just as much damage. If I don't reach out, nothing will happen. So you send the message, not desperate, not dramatic, just checking in, and then you wait. Minutes stretch. Your mood hangs on a notification that may never come. That's when you start shrinking without realizing it. You replay what you sent. You reread it like it's evidence in a case against you. That's the moment you stop standing in your own presence. You don't lose her. You lose your own presence. There's one more belief hiding underneath all of it. That attention equals value. That if they respond, you matter. If they don't, you don't. But attention is cheap. Anyone can give it when it's convenient. Respect shows up differently. It notices consistency. It feels the absence of something solid. Attention is cheap. Respect is priceless. This isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the one thing most men avoid because it doesn't feel dramatic. Staying whole, not cutting yourself off, not chasing fragments of connection. Just standing where you are, fully present, and letting whatever happens respond to that. This is what the 1% headman understands. Most men think power comes from reaction, from doing something fast so the feeling stops. He doesn't rush that feeling away. He notices it instead. The tight chest, the urge to check his phone one more time while pretending he doesn't care. He feels it rise, and he doesn't obey it. This is how he leads with presence, not pressure. He knows panic always leaks through tone, through timing, through those casual messages that aren't casual at all. So he waits, not as a tactic, as a decision. He understands that his value isn't proven by access, it's proven by steadiness, by the fact that when he shoves up, he's there, and when he steps back, it's clean. No anger, no punishment, no performance. There's a moment most men fail. Late night, quiet room, nothing to distract them. That's when the headman chooses patience over panic. He doesn't disappear. He doesn't chase. He stays rooted in his own life. This is the part people feel but can't explain. His absence doesn't feel like a move. It feels like gravity shifting. Because he didn't leave to be missed. He stayed aligned. And alignment is louder than any message you never send. It happens in a small moment, not a speech, not a decision you announce. You're standing in the kitchen. Light buzzing, cold tile under your feet. You reach for your phone out of habit, then stop. There's a memory flash. You waiting too long to reply, so you wouldn't look eager. You replying too fast anyway. You laughing at something that didn't land, just to keep the space warm. You feel it in your chest first. That tired pressure, like you've been holding your breath for weeks without noticing. A thought drifts in, quiet, almost embarrassed. Why am I shrinking for someone who isn't even asking me to? The room feels still, not empty still. Another flash, you in a car at night, rehearsing messages you never sent. You telling yourself, just be patient, when what you meant was don't upset them. Something settles. You put the phone down, not dramatically, just down. Here's the whispered line, the one that surprises you. I don't need to disappear to matter. And then the weight drop truth that follows right after. I matter even if they never notice again. Your shoulders lower. Your breath deepens. Nothing outside changes. But inside, something locks back into place. You don't block. You don't chase. You stand where you are whole. And for the first time in a long time, you don't feel pulled apart trying to be chosen. You don't need to make noise anymore. You've tried that. The late nights. The silence that wasn't peaceful. The almost text that burned in your chest. Blocking didn't give you strength. Chasing didn't give you truth. What changed everything was the moment you stopped arranging yourself around someone else's attention. You stayed in your body, in your life, in your pace. The air felt different after that, quieter, heavier, real. And somewhere out there, they felt it, not because you vanished, but because you finally stood still. You weren't meant to be missed. You were meant to be solid. Ev.